get mine. You get yours, I get mine. You get yours, I get mine. Aight, then I'm gone. You get yours, I get mine. You get yours, I get mine. You get yours, I get mine. Aight, then I'm gone. You get yours, I get mine. You get yours, I get mine. You get yours, I get mine. Aight, then I'm gone. You get yours, I get mine. You get yours, I get mine. You get yours, I get mine. Aight, then I'm gone. Movie screens, then life's the biggest production, and it's a bitch with a big appetite for seduction. All of a sudden, niggas fussing for a big introduction.
Hey y'all, this is Daniel. Welcome to Blunt Talk, baby. How we doing? This is the 9th episode of the 2nd season, baby. We're almost halfway there, and I can't believe it. So, we've covered different types of sports. We covered a bunch of basketball. We covered a bunch of football, Super Bowl, playoffs, and NBA season starting up, the NBA draft so far. But I want to talk a little bit about more college basketball, and what person to do it with my good friend, Safet, baby. How we doing, Safet?
Dan, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I've been doing great, man. I've been working, making some money, focusing on the podcast, and I've been just spending time with the fam, really. How about you, my brother?
Love it, love it. Just wanted to say this real quick, too, man. Thanks for having me on. You've been doing an incredible job. If anyone's been watching or keeping up with Dan, his podcast has been top-notch since he started it, and you know, I'm glad he finally put something like this together, because Dan can talk with the best of them. So from all topics. But
appreciate it, man. I really do. The first question I always ask on the podcast is how has been the pandemic for you? Like, from your perspective, how has it been dealing with all of that?
Man, I could go on for days and days. I'll say I'll sum it up in one word: tough. I mean. And it's not only been tough for me, it's been tough for my family. It's been tough for other families. It's been tough for us all. There's a lot I learned during this pandemic, though. And for me, the biggest thing was time management. You know, we were, you know, things are starting to get, you know, not normal, but close to it. So, you know, we've been able to go out and do things more comfortably. Just we're used to the mask now and stuff like that. But at first, you know, a lot of us were inside because there wasn't a lot of information on what this virus was, you know, what it could do to you. You know, so a lot of it was a lot of thinking, reflecting, and, you know, just trying to get better, working out, you know, getting in better shape, reading, you know, clinics, you know, a whole bunch of things. But I'll say for the most part, you know, tough is the one word that, you know, describes this pandemic.
I agree with you 110%, because at the start of this, I feel like everyone was in the same boat. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what was right, what was wrong. We didn't know what to trust. So, yeah, and it's coming close to a year now. So hopefully in the coming months, and before this year ends too, hopefully everything turns to better. That's what I can say.
Absolutely. I'm 110% with you there, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And like, you know me, man. I love to play basketball. I was going crazy at the start of this pandemic with no hoops. Like, they took the hoops everywhere here in Virginia, and I was like, bro, you can't do this to me, man. Like, it was tough. It was tough. But then they've slowly, like, by the summer, they put the hoops back, and it was like I could get some exercise in at least, so it wasn't being stuck in the house all the time, at least. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And we had some good hooping sessions when
oh my goodness,
when we were managers together. So
the legendary battles, man. The legendary battles.
2-on-2, 3-on-3.
Hey, people forget, Safet got a jump shot over here. Safet with the jump shot was unstoppable in those manager sessions.
I don't know about all that.
Automatic. Hey, before we go on with the episode, I got the 2 cards of the episode today. It's a segment I've been starting to do for the podcast. The first card gonna be a throwback. Moses Malone from the Hawks. Very vintage card. And one of my prized possessions over here, a Dominique Wilkins. Hey, the highlight film, man. No, wait, my bad. The human highlight film, right?
Yep. Some good stuff.
So let's start off with this, man, because I know this college basketball season has been a really weird to start it off with, because I know there's been some teams that have been affected, like with some games because of like players being with coronavirus or whatever it is with the protocol. How about from your perspective with Ryder? How is this? I was not the off season, but I was like getting into the season. Like, I was like dealing with like the well, how would you guys were going to travel, or how would the practices be even happening, or anything? Like, give me information about how it was dealing with the pandemic for the start of the season, man.
Well, as you know, Dan, you were with us last year and graduated, so you knew the makeup of the team we had last year was, revolving around a bunch of seniors that
Yes.
graduated and two guys that went on and had one more year of eligibility and transferred to high majors. So we essentially have a brand new team with a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of new guys, and under normal circumstances, you get the summer sessions to bring your team in, right? Whether it's new or
Yeah.
returning, and be able to work on your game, get better, get in the weight room, and get accustomed with Coach Baggett's system. And when you have a
Mm-hmm.
new team, that's kind of the goal and a benefit, that you get to bring everyone on campus. They get familiar with each other way before official basketball
Yeah.
practice actually starts. Now, with that being said, with the pandemic, we weren't able to have that. So a lot of what was put together, like other college programs, was Zoom calls, film sessions, just a lot of calls, getting to know each other virtually, sort of like what we're doing now on Zoom, right? Through your
Yeah.
podcasts. That's exactly how we handled it, with getting
Mm-hmm.
familiar with our team. So fast forward to September, now, our guys are on campus. We're doing, start off in small group session workouts to where we had about 3 or 4 groups split up. And a lot of it was a lot of skill development stuff, ball handling, shooting,
Mm-hmm.
finishing, passing, sort of, implementing our offense semily, just because, we were in 3 to 4 people per group. So you try
Yeah.
to do something similar to offense, but as we know, in a real game, it's 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward a little bit, a month or so into it, once the NCAA, declared when official practice can start. And, when Ryder said that we can start full out practice, it was weird, man. I mean, we were, being in the gym, coaches, managers all have masks on, gloves on, sanitizing the basketball, sanitizing the counter, sanitizing the clock, sanitizing the pad. That first day of practice, when we had all 16 players, coaches, and managers, it was weird because we haven't done it in a while. And it was
And you
also
guys
weird.
haven't seen each other in a while, in the sense that like everyone was in the same place at the same time too. So it was a different vibe too.
Absolutely. And you get time, usually under normal circumstances, you get time prior to get familiar with guys, right?
Yeah.
When guys got on campus, it was, hey, stay in your dorm. Don't go out. Don't go out. Don't congregate, in areas where there's, people outside of your realm, right? So it was weird because, all right, Safet knows Jakai, Jakai knows Fred. We all know each other because we were a part of the support staff last year.
Yeah.
But now this year, you've got 16 new players you're dealing with, and you don't have relationships with them besides the Zoom
The
calls.
same way that you would be able to do the relationships, because you guys would be able to see each other throughout campus, in classes, in the cafeteria.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Dan,
That's a
you
good
saw
point.
it. You saw it last year, right? Like, if me and you had class together and we saw, Tyre and Marshall
Mhm.
before, after practice, because, we practiced in the morning, had classes in the afternoon,
Yeah.
that's a relationship building opportunity right there. So, it's just been weird, man. But I'll say this, there's been a lot of people that haven't had an opportunity to practice or play games at the college basketball and high school levels. So I'm just glad that we've been able to get together, man. And it's been a unique opportunity and grind, man. But just super grateful for what's
Of
been
course.
going on, and especially that everyone's healthy.
No, yeah, of course. You gotta be really grateful and appreciative, because across the country, there's programs that are currently dealing with situations with players being out because of the pandemic or anything. So you guys have been able to actually practice and have your games, and nothing has been postponed or canceled, right? Nothing's been postponed or canceled for you guys so far, right?
Yeah, so we only had one pause, and it was earlier in November, and we were supposed to play some conference games. Or sorry, I apologize, some non-conference games. And because of the pause, things had to get switched around. And we were able to put together some non-conference games and play Syracuse, St. John's, NJIT. But as
I
far
saw
as
highlights of the Syracuse game.
yeah,
Yeah, I've been keeping track with the box scores at least for each season. I like that my boy Tyrell Bladen is starting as the big man, getting them big man minutes.
yeah. He Rel is taking a big step up, man, and he works hard and gets after it. So he'll only continue to get better.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And it's interesting to see how and I mean, I've seen from highlights and just box scores perspective, but seeing how the integration of all the new pieces you guys have now with the few remaining pieces like Christian Ings, Alan Powell, Tyrell Bladen, like I could go on for a little bit more, but you get what I mean. Like it's interesting to see the chemistry, how they connect with each other, if they actually play well alongside each other, or if these two people can fit. I've been peeping a little bit, and I like it so far because it's never going to be easy when you get a bunch of people that graduated, a couple people that transferred, and you got nothing but like 4 or 5 people remaining. You got to fill the roster somehow. So it's always interesting for me to see how you can integrate it and how it works out. Because it's one thing to say, "Oh, this looks good on paper." It's another thing to actually see it happen on the court and see it with your own eyes and see what's actually happening day in and day out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any player on the team from the new cats that you guys have recruited and brought in, or from transfers that came in? What do you say has got the most potential in your eyes?
So I'll say this. I think we've got a great group of guys, and each one of them are special in their own way. We've got a young man in DJ Murray who's been playing really, really well for us and has been, our go-to guy. He gets us going. He's one that's a transfer from Incarnate Ward and is from down south from Georgia. We've got another young man, Dontrell McCorder, who you're familiar with, transfer from Hines Junior College. He's been great, and he's more so. DJ Murray's a guard. Dontrell's a 4-man. 2 different players. Both of them have been great for us thus far. Jeremiah Pope, another transfer from North Carolina, Brunswick Community College. He's a guard. He's been great. We've got, another transfer in Rodney Henderson.
Yes,
he's a grad.
Yes. He's the one that always pops up for me in the box scores for some reason. His plus minus is really good.
Yeah, so he's like, if you remember last year, he was in a Willie Nunez situation. Had 1 year to play.
Oh.
Willie had prior experience to being at a Division I school, and so did Rodney. His nickname's Rocket, so we call him Rocket, but on paper his name's Rodney. And he's got a kick to his name, and he's been good for us. He's a great shooter. If you look at the last couple of games, he's been struggling, but he'll get there. He's getting better as well. So we've got other guys as well that are new additions to our team. And I'll say this: the one thing is they're all great people, all great students. If you tell them to show up and work hard, they'll do it. And
it's always what you can ask for college athletes. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you can question like how dedicated they are, but if they're always in the gym, in and out, doing good in classes, integrating themselves, talking to the coaches, that's all you can ask for. So that's good to hear, though.
Absolutely, great people. I mean, I couldn't put an emphasis on the great, character part anymore. They're just great people.
I'm looking at the stats for you guys this season so far, and I'm surprised to see that Dwight Murray Jr. is actually leading the team in points, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He absolutely gets after it, man. I mean, he's our go-to guy. I mean, he gets us going. But let's leave the stats and basketball stuff. Let's talk about him.
I was just intrigued. I was looking up to see how they were doing, but yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. We can talk about that as well. But I'm saying the biggest thing about Dwight DJ is he's a great person. He's a humble guy. Like we played Siena this weekend and had 2 tough games. One especially, last night we had a tough one, an opportunity to win at the buzzer. But, one of their assistants texted me and said, "Hey, that Murray kid seems like a great kid, humble, seems like a good person to be around." And, it's crazy because when people from the outside looking in are saying stuff like that and don't even know the kid personally and hit it spot on, it's like,
of
wow,
course, yeah.
What are they seeing? Right. So, and it's another thing too, people say you're always being evaluated. So, for Dwight's credit, man, he's been great. I mean, he rebounds, he gets guys involved. He drives. If someone collapses, he'll kick it. Scores the ball really well. I mean, can shoot it, can, drive it, shoots the ball well from the free throw line. I mean, he's been great, man. I mean, I've got no complaints with him. And like I said, the biggest thing is the stats are great, and you need guys that can do things on the basketball court to win. But the biggest thing for me, man, at the end of the day is his character. If I ask DJ Murray to do something, he'll do it with a smile on his face, no matter how big or small the task is, man. And as you know, like when you're in a support staff role, right, as a manager, director of basketball operations or whatever, you have to deal a lot with the players. And sometimes it's a struggle to get something done from a player because sometimes they're either slow with it or, sometimes players are just lazy. And, with Dwight, with DJ, man, like, "Hey, DJ, can you do this? Can you do that?" "Yeah, I got you. No problem." Boom. Okay. It's done.
Yeah.
Never
That's
an
the type
issue.
of players you want in your team, in your organization. Those are good role models, good leaders. They know how to carry the team together. When the going gets tough, you can depend on that person. You'll get the chemistry, everyone around, do a huddle, whatever you need to. Like, those are the people you really need in a team, especially in college basketball. Because in college basketball is more, in comparison to the NBA level, I would prefer a player like that in college basketball. Because at that young age, if he's showing that, it shows you how like mature the person, not only mature, but like it shows you like the person's mindset and everything's in the right place. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, you hit the nail on the head, Dan.
Because they always say, like, when you're recruiting a player, like, you can, like, coaches can either go for talent, for organizational fit, or for their character. And you need to have people that, like, you always have to have a mix in your whole roster, like the people that you can depend on for the talent, the people that would be more for the chemistry, getting everyone. So you always need those people. In college basketball, more than nothing, it's the most important thing. I give coaches, I give backs and everyone in that staff credit too, not just them. Every coach in the Division I, because you gotta make sure that not only is that kid gonna be a good player, but is that kid really gonna care enough, or is that kid gonna be about it? You know what I mean?
Right. No, you're right, man. You're right. And that's the biggest thing, man. It's a puzzle. You're trying to find what pieces fit and what don't. And you try to maximize your puzzle, to its greatest potential and advantage, man. And honestly, that's what college basketball is about, in my opinion.
I've always been a person that I always say I love college basketball more than NBA basketball. Because in NBA basketball, it's all about the flashiness, about the drama, about the teams and the stars. College basketball is purely and solely, and you know this, it's about the fundamentals and playing basketball. We're here to play. We don't care what you got to say. The media says this, screw the media. We're playing. We're playing through thick and thin. We don't care, man. So I always love that about college basketball. Not only that, and the atmosphere is so different. Because, like,
it's different.
When you go to, like, no matter if it's a small school, like we're a Ryder. Ryder's not the biggest school. It's not the smallest school in the world. But when you go to alumni gym, people are going nuts. That atmosphere is something different. You know what I mean?
Welcome to the Bronx Zoo, baby.
That's what I'm saying. Welcome to the
Bronx Zoo.
Hey, I got the practice jersey right here. Memorabilia. We got a rep for Ryder to the day that I die, man.
Absolutely. Always. No, and then guys like you and girls and everyone that's a fan and that shows up to the games, man, in the Bronx Zoo. I mean, Dan, you were a part of the basketball program, like when things were normal and we would have home games, man. and other teams come in, other teams, panic just because
They
our
do.
crowd is that great, man. And, Coach Baggett does a great job because he always appreciates them and thanks them. And, they're a vital piece to the success that Riders had
Yeah.
playing at home.
Yeah. It's always funny to see the section of I think it's the cross country track and field, like all those kids that sit there and they're always like the ones that talk the most reckless. It's always hilarious to hear what they say because they'll be going nuts, man. If a player in the opposing team shoots an air ball, you can be sure like these guys are gonna be quick to it and be like air ball. Like you always can count on I love the fans at Ryder. I really did love the fans. The fan atmosphere was perfect for such a small gym in that sense, like to be that loud and like that packed. You know what I mean? It always felt good. And I might be wrong with this, but throughout my 4 years that I went to Rider University, I think we were pretty much close to undefeated at home.
Yeah. So there is a stat that was put out on our social media account with the last group that we had. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, I might be, one or two off.
Of course.
Within the last 3 years, not including this year, Rider men's basketball was 32-5 at home.
Sheesh. Not every school can say that.
Yeah, that's special, man, because it's hard. It's hard to win one college basketball game, whether it's home or on the road.
Or away or on a neutral ground.
Absolutely. But to win 32 games and only lose 5 within a 3-year span, you're playing, what is it, a minimum 30 games a year. So you got 30, 60, 90. And, it's remarkable, man. I mean, it just, you
gotta put your hands up for the program. You gotta clap. I gotta, there's nothing you can really say. I'm awestruck because it shows you how tenacious and determined this program has been into giving the school a good product, I guess you could call it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's a credit to Coach Baggett and his coaching staff, a credit to Rider University, a credit to Alumni Gymnasium, and a credit to, the fans. I mean, it's a remarkable stat, man.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you got anything else you would like to add about Rider basketball before we transition to the last portion about college basketball in general?
No, I'll just leave, I just want to say this, if you're a Rider person, whether you're alumni or current student, hopefully when things get better, you guys can come back on campus, and welcome people to the Bronx Zoo. I mean,
exactly.
We're getting better right now. We're struggling a bit, but we'll get there. Trust me when I say so.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be all right, but we look forward to, seeing you guys again soon, and just wanted to thank you guys for everything. And Rider is a special place to be, whether you're a student, employee, whatever you want to call it, but it's a special place. And, Rider is the reason me and Dan are on a Zoom right now recording a podcast. So shout out to Rider.
Yeah. Shout out to Rider, man. Shout out to Rider. Now, I've been doing my best to follow up with this college basketball season because it's been a little weird this season and everything. I just saw the game of UNC versus Florida State yesterday, and I was like, "Come on, UNC, come on, you got this, Caleb Love, come on." But Florida State, man, Florida State is a problem, bro. What else? Syracuse lost to Pittsburgh. That's another game I followed. But let's start off like this. I know that the NBA draft is not anytime soon, but we always in college basketball, the big question is always who's looking like the number one prospect out of college? Do you think it's looking like a Cade Cunningham number one pick party this year, or you got anyone else that you think could sneak by as a number one pick?
Now since you got the G League stuff going on, man, with kids allowed to go out of high school, you got to account some of those kids as well. But if we're excluding that, man, I think I'm going Cade Cunningham. I mean, it's sad that Oklahoma State's not going to be able to play in the NCAA tournament this year. I don't know if they changed the ruling on that or not, but let alone fact.
I'm actually confused. What do you mean that they might? Did they do that? Did they get sued or a fine or something?
They got a as far as I know, and this might have changed within the last couple months. So if I'm saying anything inaccurate, I apologize. But as far to my knowledge is that Oklahoma State was issued a 1-year NCAA March Madness ban meaning that they can't play in the tournament this year if it,
I'm looking it up
if
while
and
you
when it
talk.
occurs. Yeah, and it's bad timing, man, because you got Oklahoma State's got a player that's super, super special, and he's not going to be able to play on the biggest stage in college basketball. And they've been winning a lot of games because of him. And I don't know, man. I mean, it's sad to see, but Cade Cunningham's a really good player,
Oh,
man.
yeah, you're right. That is not good at all, man. What?
Yeah. Yeah. I hope it changes. I mean, listen, there's
They're
a
gonna.
lot of
It says
time.
they're gonna appeal it. So
Okay.
you never know. Hopefully, because that is a good team, and I like the program. And Cade Cunningham is really nice. A 6'7" point guard who not only focuses on just driving to the rim, he can also pop a shot. He can dish it out. He's a good facilitator, rebounder. He does a little bit of everything. And with that type of body that he's got, the ceilings, like the potential's I don't even know. Like I can't even classify him as saying, okay, he's gonna be like, oh, he's probably gonna be like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like he could be like a stud in the NBA if like or whatever it is. Like he's a good player. He's talented. He is.
Absolutely. No, he's really good, man. And, you've always got that, like last year it was Anthony Edwards. This year it's
Yes.
Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
Next year it's going to be someone else. And, when we get an opportunity to watch those guys, man, it's just electric and fun because that's what college basketball is all about, man.
I found it interesting that you brought it up because I meant to bring it up to you, but you mentioned the G League thing. How do you feel from what's your opinion on the whole G League being able now to bring some of these top recruit kids from high school? And it's kind of affecting I can't even speak. I'm sorry. It's kind of affecting D1 basketball in a way. Like me personally, I don't like that because then it takes away from some of the schools. Like I remember Isaiah Todd was committed or had verbally announced something, and then days later something that switched. Like that's not cool. If you decided beforehand without committing, I understand it. But things like that is what I didn't like. So I want to hear like your opinion on the subject.
Yeah, I had a feeling that something like this was going to happen. I didn't know that the G League thing was going to happen. I would have thought that they would have just switched it back to the original rule when like J.R. Smith went straight from high school to the NBA. But what they're doing is probably better because it gives young kids an opportunity, kind of like the MLB does, right, with the minor league. You get an opportunity to develop and play against pros early on. And I think that's the biggest thing in regards to development for young kids, especially kids that are 18 and 19 years old, man, and haven't been exposed to many other things outside of basketball. So I'm in support of it. By any means, this is the question that always comes up: is college basketball going to drop completely in regards to talent? No, it's not. I mean, there's so many players out there.
Yeah.
I mean, college basketball is always going to be good as long as college basketball is an actual thing.
You also got to think about this. I always bring up. There's always kids that dream up of being like they grow up watching UNC play basketball. They grow up watching Duke play basketball or any other school I can mention. And then like ever since they're growing up playing basketball and training, they're like, that's my dream. I want to play for that school. You know what I mean? There's always like the idea. There's always going to be people that are still going to take the college route. Not every NBA person that wants to go to the NBA and get the money right. Sometimes they always need the education or they want the education too. I like it because the G League thing gives those kids an opportunity to not only make some money faster, but also be under development, under a team, and actually be focusing on basketball. And they also, I might be mistaken on this, but like the G League was offering them like some education for like what's it called, community colleges and things like that too, that they could still like get some education at the same time as being part of the G League. So it's a good program. Like I do like the idea because eventually that's the whole point of a G League, right? You want to get the prospects there so that they can develop and then go to the teams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that it's going to get more interesting as time goes and you get to see like who pans out, who doesn't. All right, is this really going well for the G League? If so, if not, right? And then, seeing how it affects college basketball, because now in my opinion, Kentucky's still going to, be good down the line. I know they're not great right now, but like they're still going to get good players. Yeah, he's a good player. But like for example, they're still gonna get a Brandon Boston. They're still gonna get players, right?
That's what I mean.
So
Yeah, yeah, that's the point.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But it's just gonna be interesting to see, like, all right, who's going where, and what's gonna happen. Right, with the transfer rule too now, like college basketball is all over the place. And I don't mean to, you know, throw this topic in different directions, but with the transfer portal now, if I go play at Rider for a year or two and have really good stats, I can decide to transfer and go to a higher level school,
Yeah.
right? And you know, uh, it's going to take a long time to evaluate how successful is the transfer market, because 1 year is not going to be enough to look at the stats and say so and so and so and so and so and so and so went to so, and this person was successful, but the rest weren't, right? You can evaluate that within a year and use it to your advantage or disadvantage, but
Yeah.
I think some years need to pass on to where you can say, all right, this is really beneficial, this isn't. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, man, in college basketball and at the pro level. I mean, so many rule changes. It's interesting and fun to see what's going to work and what's not.
The one thing I remember when you mentioned rule changes was I remember they moved the 3-point line back. I think it was our
Yep.
last year, my last year at Rider, and I was
Yep.
always intrigued to that because I think I read a stat that the whole Division 1 3-point percentage just dropped down by a bunch, and like it shows you because like you gotta do the adjustments. Obviously, that was one thing that I can think of from the top of my head. That was a recent rule change, and the transfer portal. I like that you brought it up because, like, for example, I think Demencio and Freddie were two players that were in the transfer portal, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Fred
And
went to Boston College and Demencio went
Ole
to
Miss,
Ole
right?
Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah. So I haven't been keeping that much track with them 2 seasons and how exactly that I've been doing. They're talented players, so I can just assume they're doing fine at least. But that's a good thing in the transfer portal because it gives other players, like you said, opportunities because you could stay in this low mid-major, like not even a mid-major, under a lower tier than a mid-major, get good stats, and then put yourself on the portal, and then you can play for a high-profile school. It gives you the
Yeah.
opportunity, gives you the the spotlight, I guess, because not every school gets the spotlight. You know what I mean?
No, Dan, I'm glad, again, you hit the nail on the head again, right? This situation with college basketball transfers reminds me exactly. Let's take sports out the equation. Community college. All right, let's say you're a high school student, Dan, and you do very poorly, right? The chances of you getting accepted to NYU is slim to none. All right, you go to community college and your slate is clean. Let's say you do a really good job in community college, get straight A's. Now you apply to NYU, your chances have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get accepted. So it's literally, in my opinion, very, very similar with the transfer market and just being a regular student at community college, man. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy right now. It's going to be crazier next year, and it's going to even get more crazier as time goes by.
Yeah.
But it's all a puzzle game. It's all a puzzle game.
Yeah. No, but that's a great comparison, man. I really like the comparison you just did because you're right. And in both perspectives, you need to show people that you can actually prove the work and get the work done, show them with the results, and then get to the school that your choice or your dream, it's your dream school or your choice, your desired school, whatever it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Before we end the episode, I want to, this is kind of going to be the last question with college basketball then, because I'm looking at the AP top 25 right now. And we got Gonzaga and Baylor, who are two undefeated schools. I know Iowa's got the Luke Garza kid, and Texas got Greg Brown. I know Gonzaga's got Jalen Suggs. I can't think of anyone on Baylor. Who you would say right now is looking like the best school in the country right now, in your opinion, or just honestly the school that you think's got the best team? Like, tell me.
That's a great and tough question. I'm going, and I love Baylor and I love Gonzaga. If I had to choose between the two, because those are the two top teams, right, in the AP top 25 and in my opinion as well, I'm going to go with Baylor. And I'm only going with Baylor because they consistently play against high major teams every single day of their conference schedule. And secondly, they defend really, 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 really
Their
well.
defense is
I'm not
impeccable.
saying Gonzaga doesn't, right?
Yeah.
But I just like Baylor's defensive schemes and tactics much better than Gonzaga. And in my opinion, defense wins championships.
Oh,
so I'm going with Baylor.
Okay.
Gonzaga's really good, though. I could see either of them winning it, but I'm going with Baylor on this one.
No, I would agree with you in that sense, because at the end of the day, it's with college basketball, you could be the greatest team of all time, but you gotta be playing good competition for it to actually count, because it's such a big spread. In I guess you could say league in a sense, because you could play anyone in the non-conference games, and then you got your conference though. In the conference, that's the problem, because Gonzaga's always been in their own conference, and they've been like a dominant force in their conference. Like nothing wrong to say about that. But it's just in comparison to the other West Coast teams, like all the teams in the Pac-12, they're playing against Pac-12 teams day in and day out. Gonzaga ain't really doing that. I've always said it. I wish Gonzaga. I don't know what would have to happen for this, but I wish Gonzaga would be in the Pac-12, because that would be at least a top league that Gonzaga could prove themselves in. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And you're not the first person that's mentioned that, but it's super interesting with Gonzaga, because if you look at Mark Few, and he has been at Gonzaga for a very long time. I'll give great coach.
Nothing to say against him. Great coach.
Great coach. I'll say this, man. Regardless of the league they play in, I've been super impressed, because they've been consistently really, really good. And if you're I get technically on paper, Gonzaga is a mid-major program. I get people and fans and critics call them a high major program essentially, but let's go with what's on paper, right?
Yeah,
for them to be a mid-major program and win 20 plus games every single year. And Dan, you worked in mid-major college basketball. You understand how hard it is to win just one game, but let alone win a lot of games every year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just been the most impressive part to me, man. Every single year, 20 games. Yeah. 20 games. 20
also,
games.
they made it to the
NCAA
championship one
tournament.
time. In the last 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, they made it to the championship, bro, against the UNC.
Yep. And it's impressive, man. I mean, what they've been doing is remarkable. And, Gonzaga has imprinted themselves as one of the best programs in the country, regardless of level.
Yeah. I'm looking back at it, like I can name a bunch of prospects that come out of Gonzaga. That's one thing they're really good at too, that people forget. They develop a bunch of prospects like Sabonis. Josh Perkins was a good player for them. Nigel Williams-Goss, I remember. Brandon Clark, my boy Rui Hachimura, bro. What's the name of the Josh Perk? No, what's the other guy? Didn't they have John Stockton's kid there too?
Don't
David
quote
Stockton?
me on that. I'm not sure about that.
They had David Stockton. I remember that, bro. That was like the first couple years that they were coming up, and they're on the come up as a decent program. But
yeah.
They've
been great, man.
huh? But
they've been great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a
Yo, do you remember their center from the center that was like 7'2", very big and muscular, like that was like an Uber driver on the side or something? I forget his name, man.
Yeah. They
with the goggles, right? He had goggles and a beard, right?
Yeah. They wrote a ton of articles about him, man. Like, they've got guys like that, right? And it's like, yo, where are they? People ask, where are they getting these guys from? Like, and they're going out and they're absolutely balling and winning games and, competing against the best, players and teams in the country, man. I mean, Gonzaga is incredible.
The one school that I think is a sleeper is Clemson. I think Clemson's a sleeper team this year. I'll leave it at that. I think they got a nice program. They got some nice cats in there. Not a lot of their people graduated or transferred or anything. They kept a lot of the returning players. I like Clemson. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Because I'm looking at this AP Top 25, and Duke is 19 this year. Sheesh. And UNC ain't even in there. But my homies at UConn with I'm a butcher the kid's name, James Booknight.
Yeah, you got it. James He just got hurt, right?
I think he did though, bro. I think I read an article earlier, like I saw it on Twitter, man. But yeah,
I think he's out. I think he's getting surgery or something, man. But he's a really good player.
Yeah.
He's another one that's a quote unquote gamer. He can go.
Yes. I'd Safet. I mean, I know we could go on for days, but do you got anything else that you want to add for the episode before we finish it off?
No, Dan, I just want to say, man, it's great to see you, my guy. Thank you so much for inviting me on this podcast, man. For you to just ask me to come on means a lot. I mean, I've been following your stuff, ever since you started it, man. And you do this with a lot of passion and purpose. So the fact that you do that, man, is incredible. I mean, just you getting better technology for your podcast with the mic and the camera and stuff, man. That's awesome, man. So I'm always gonna have your back, man. We work together as managers at Rider, and we'll always be in touch, man. And hopefully, once this is over, we can all get together,
of course,
and hang out, man. But thanks again, brother.
Of course, man. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me having you on the podcast. Your expertise and the perspective of college basketball is compared to no one else's. So, like, I've been meaning to have you on here. Thank you so much, man. And of course, we'll have you on later episodes too. We'll try to see if we can get the whole Rider Squad one time for the one time on the podcast. We'll try to see.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Yeah. Thanks again, man.
Of course. So for the people listening on YouTube or for the people tuning in on SoundCloud, thank you for listening and watching. Peace out, baby.